Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Getting ready for the first certificate exam? Here you come to the right place. This video is a must watch. We're going to be analyzing all the mistakes made, or the most common ones, in the B2 level. And I have to say that there are a few common patterns that are repeated. Let's begin with them. Personally, the first and most repeated mistake is double subject. Double subject is a basic mistake that when you finish B1 and you start writing B2, it is frequently repeated. Double subject is, for example, the boy, he was playing football. We have double subject, the boy and he, okay? So we have to remove he because we're referring to the boy. And then after that sentence, if we mention the boy, we can use he because we have already mentioned it. Okay, but both cannot be in the same sentence. Remember, if you want to pass your writings, your Cambridge exams, subscribe. How do we fix such a common mistake? Well, as a teacher, you have to find tools to help students. And the one that has worked me the most is telling them beforehand that they have to be really careful with it. Secondly, students that used to make that mistake, I used to make them write before starting the essay to check this mistake. For example, check double subject, and when they have already finished the essay, the writing report, whatever, I make them revise it again, identifying the subjects and if there's any subject repeated. And I have to say that now we are in February and most of my students have fixed this mistake that they used to make in September. We may have done about 4, 5 or even 6 writings per class. So in 6 writing, the problem has been fixed. Now let's continue with another one that to me it's common too. Well, if you've reached that point, I have to say that you've got a surprise. Description, you've got a link. It's a document, it's a worksheet for you to practice these mistakes, okay, and not making them again. Verb tense mixing. Verb tense mixing is one of the nightmares when it comes to B2 writing. Identifying and knowing which verb tense do we have to write is something not really easy. And the best way to fix that is by practicing and knowing the rules and the uses of each verb tense. There are 2 that are really common to confuse. Past simple and present perfect. Both are used in different situations. Past simple is used when the action is completely finished. I went to Paris last year. Last year you went to Paris. It doesn't have any connection to the present. That's why we have to use past simple. Otherwise, when we say, for example, I have visited Paris and I would go there again, it's a past action, but that has a link to the present. That's why we're using present perfect here. My advice is to indicate and force yourself to put indicators, time indicators, in order to make it easier to identify one tense or the other. This is a matter of practice. Mistake number 3, subject-verb agreement. As you may know, subject and verb must agree number. So that's why if the noun is plural, we need to express the verb in plural. Singular, singular. This becomes a bit difficult when it comes to collective nouns like society, family, team. So my recommendation is to know their number by heart. I mean, there's no other way. People is plural. This is a very common mistake, okay? People are. In slang, in spoken English, we say there's people. It's accepted. We cannot make that mistake while we are writing. That's why this slang sometimes can confuse us. 4th mistake, very long sentences. People, punctuation. Punctuation is essential when it comes to organization. Our text needs to flow. We have to find a balance between complex and simple sentences, but we cannot write a full paragraph without any dot, any stop. Then, in terms of organization, we must understand that our text has to include some connectors, navigational patterns, all this stuff. However, therefore, in addition, moreover, okay? All of them are really necessary to make our text flow and organize our ideas. B2 level, I would highly recommend you to use 1 or 2 contrasting and then 1 or 2 adding information, and if you can, some exemplifying ones too, okay? But find a balance and master them. And last but not least, inappropriate register. We must know the target reader. It is not the same writing to our friend than to a director, to a magazine, okay? There are several differences. We must identify each difference and each register. If it's to a friend, info writing. If it's to a director, formal.